right, we're going to run through training today on how to manage your hunger and cravings, okay? Going to keep this as short as I possibly can. If you're dieting and you're trying to lose weight, these are going to be two of the biggest obstacles that you're going to run into. You're going to run into hunger being a big barrier for your actual success, and you're going to run into cravings as being another big barrier, okay? In terms of how to manage them, there's going to be a couple of different solutions that we're going to go over. There's going to be what the difference between them actually is, and a few things that you're definitely going to find really, really helpful, okay? So do stick through this, okay? The first thing to understand is that they're different. The hunger and cravings are very similar. They share characteristics, but they're not the same, okay? Hunger is a physical sensation caused by a need for nourishment. Hunger is your body actually communicating that you physically need food, like it is actual true hunger. Your body is basically signaling to you that you're not providing adequate energy and that it needs more energy, okay? Cravings are slightly different in the sense that cravings aren't so much a hunger signal. They're not really your body saying that you need more food to survive. It's more so like I need something tasty, I need something sweet. It's more of an addiction to a certain type of food, okay? Like we've listed out there, it's a strong desire for a specific food, usually triggered by psychological or emotional factors. So cravings do tend to be very psychological or very emotional. They're something that's more in your head in terms of like, I'd really like that food. They're not so much a, holy shit, I really need food, I'm going to starve here, okay? Which is more so what hunger is, like we're saying there. Physical sensation caused by a need for nourishment. So hunger is more of an evolutionary drive for actual energy input. Cravings are more so like an emotional thing where you're like, I'd really like a chocolate bar right now, but they are different, okay? So, why the solutions for both of these are different. I'll move my head out of the way here. Why is that doing that? Bear with me here 1 second. So, why the solutions are different. So, hunger is managed by eating filling foods with high volume that digest slowly. What that basically means is that for you to manage your hunger, what you're basically trying to do is you're trying to keep hunger at bay. And the best way to keep hunger at bay is to eat very filling foods. Foods that, like, if you eat 400 or 500 calories of very filling foods, like you're stuffed. Like if you had 500 calories of porridge and banana and apples with some water, you're very likely going to be very full. So even though it's 500 calories, the energy's the same. You're eating very filling foods. Whereas if you eat something like a chocolate bar or dairy milk for 500 calories, you're very likely not going to be that full because it just doesn't have the same level of fiber, water intake, things like that there that actually manage your hunger, okay? So hunger is managed by eating filling foods that are higher in volume, okay? And also ones that digest slowly. If you eat something like a bag of Haribo, it breaks down very quickly. So you eat it, you have 500 calories of energy, but after you eat it, you're going to be hungry again very quickly because there's not a slow digestion, okay? Whereas if you eat something like an apple, a banana, and some porridge, you might be hungry, you might be full, for 4 or 5 hours because it's very, very filling food, okay? So hunger is going to be managed by eating filling foods that are high in volume, so there's a lot of them for the calories, and they also are going to be ones that digest slowly, okay? So those are going to be your best friends when it comes with managing your hunger, okay? Cravings are managed by a combination of recognizing the emotional triggers, which we'll chat about in a moment, and also by including small amounts of the foods in the diet, okay? Forbidden fruit is always the sweetest, so if you manage to include those foods in small amounts, you won't get the same cravings for them, whereas if you don't have chocolate for 3 months, chocolate starts to look a hell of a lot better than it does if you're eating small amounts every day, okay? So making sure you include small amounts of them, which again, we'll touch on now in a moment. So, of course, this is going to freeze me here. So, strategies to help with both of them, help with both hunger and cravings. First strategy, eat balanced meals. Very, very simple. Make sure that your meals are including things like proteins, healthy fats, fiber in each meal because they're going to keep you full for longer. That is why whenever you typically think of dieting, you're going to think of things like eating chicken and rice and vegetables and potatoes and beef and vegetables. You're going to think of things like porridge and bananas and fruit and water. It's not so much that those foods are healthy. Yes, those foods are healthy and that's fantastic, but it's more so that they're balanced meals that have a good balance between fiber, protein, healthy fats. They're slow digesting. They keep you full for longer. So they're really, really good for not only obviously keeping you healthy because they're full of nutrients and vitamins, not only for keeping you full because they're slow to digest, but also good for balance. So you're actually getting a good variety of the things you want and you're not sort of going, right, well, I've had plenty of protein today, but I really need some fiber or I really need some carbohydrate or etc., okay? So focusing on foods like fruits, vegetables, lean meats, whole grains, legumes, things that I've covered there as well. Common sense sort of stuff that is included in the diet plan if you've read through it as well, okay? But another important thing to include is to make sure you include portions of things you enjoy in moderation. So if you were eating something like porridge, banana, and maybe like a glass of water or a black coffee with it, there's nothing wrong with you having a small bit of like a protein bar or a chocolate bar or even a bag of crisps afterwards, as a small snack to add into it. Or putting a small amount of something in the porridge that you enjoy, like a small amount of Nutella or things along those lines, okay? So most of it being the good filling stuff, but also including small amounts of what you enjoy so that you're managing your hunger well with the filling healthy food, but you're also managing your cravings well by including small amounts of the things you want so that you're not then dying for them later on, okay? Staying hydrated, extremely underrated one. Very, very often, thirst is mistaken for hunger, okay? Drink adequate water throughout the day. If you wake up in the morning, the first thing you should be doing is drinking a pint of water or half a pint of water, depending on your size and your gender and things like that. Half a pint to a pint of water is going to be the best first thing you can do when you wake up outside of getting out in the sunlight, okay? Water is very, very often something that people are lacking throughout the day, and you'll find that if you're drinking water frequently, you're drinking water every couple of hours, you're making sure you're hydrated, your hunger will be managed better. Not only are you not going to mistake thirst for hunger, which a lot of people do, but you're also going to be in a position where your stomach actually has physical volume in transit, meaning that there's actually stuff in your stomach. It's water, but your stomach doesn't know that. Your stomach doesn't understand that it's water that's there. What it understands is that it's full, so it doesn't send you a signal of, I need food right now, because you're full. Your stomach is full. Doesn't matter what it's full of. It is full currently if you're drinking a lot of water, okay? Sugar-free fizzy drinks are fine as well. Those are actually something that I strongly recommend for people whenever they're dieting. In moderation, they're great. There's not a single downside to them health-wise. There's no evidence of anything wrong with any sugar-free drinks. 2 or 3 calories in a can. Taste very, very good. They're full of bubbles, so they can be quite good for actually expanding you even more and keeping you even more full. Nothing wrong with sugar-free drinks. Those are something that I would strongly recommend. If someone's struggling with hunger, I would say, are you using sugar-free drinks? Have you tried that? And if they say no, I would be saying, well, try it. You're finding that it's going to help, okay? So stay hydrated. Stay hydrated yet again, apparently. Great, love that. So practice mindful eating. This is one that people really, really underestimate, and it's phenomenal, okay? Slow down and pay attention while you're eating. People eat when they're watching YouTube videos, when they're scrolling on their phone, when they're chatting to their friends. They eat the food, they're sitting down, you eat the food, you're barely chewing it, you're barely tasting it, you're swallowing it before you actually get to enjoy it, and before you know it, the meal's gone. You don't actually get, excuse me, you don't actually get to enjoy your meal. You're not actually getting that same level of enjoyment. If you sat down in a room, a dark room with nothing else around you, if you sat in a prison cell and you ate a meal, and you only were focusing on the meal, you would taste every flavour, you would enjoy it far more, you would actually feel like by the time the meal is finished that you've chewed your food more thoroughly, you'll have eaten it more slowly, your body will have had a chance to actually recognise that you've ingested quite a bit of food, your stomach will have quite a bit of time to actually recognise that it's been full or filled, okay? And you'll just find that you enjoy the meal more. If you're eating your dinners and your meals while you're on the phone, while you're watching TV, while you're in a rush, especially whenever you're dieting, whenever that should be something where every meal is something you look forward to. Every meal is like, it's almost like you're on a budget. You want to make sure that whenever you're spending some of your budget, that you're spending it wisely. I don't want to spend my budget wisely by throwing it away on something and not even paying attention. And then I'm like, oh shit, that was like a third of my budget for the day and it's gone. And I don't even, it wasn't even in my head. It's gone. I forgot all about it. You want to sit down and go, yes, here's my meal for the day. Here's my lunch. Here's my dinner. I want to enjoy this and taste it and thoroughly have the best out of it. Okay. So mindful eating. This seems like a silly one. Even though the image and all there seems silly. Excuse me. But I promise you, this is going to be one of the most impactful things you can try. Put your phone away. Don't talk to people. Sit down and eat your dinner without a distraction. Sit down and eat your lunch, even if you're in work. Don't sit on your work break on your phone scrolling. Sit down and eat your meal and taste it and enjoy it. Drink some water with it. Drink a black coffee. Drink a sugar-free drink. Taste it all, enjoy it, then take out your phone. I guarantee you'll feel more full and you'll feel like you've enjoyed it more, and you won't get the same cravings because you've actually enjoyed your meals throughout the day, okay? So mindful eating. Very, very simple one here. Feel to prepare, prepare to feel. If you are not prepared, you're going to feel. It's as simple as that. This is not something that is incredibly difficult, but it's also not something that's incredibly easy. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It will take you time to lose weight. And you need to be going into it with a good strategy and a good plan in place. If you expect to do anything worthwhile in life without any effort, without any planning, without any strategy, good luck to you, because it's not how life works. It's not going to happen, okay? You need to make sure that if you're planning your days and your dieting, that you're actually planning them. So if someone was coming to me and they're saying, oh, I'm struggling to lose weight, I'm struggling I'm hungry all the time, my cravings are thing, and if I'm saying to them, well, what's your general structure like every day? And they're like, oh, well, I don't really have any, I just kind of go into every day winging it. What are you doing? You're not going to solve the problem. You have to be approaching the day with a clinical idea in your head of, okay, I have 1,900 calories or 2,000 calories or whatever it may be. I'm going to have porridge in the morning for breakfast. Do I have the foods that I need to make the porridge? Yes, I went shopping last night. I have them there. If the answer is no, you're setting yourself up to fail. And it's like, oh, well, I'm feeling on my diet because I didn't bother my arse going out and buying the food that I needed to prepare for it. I just expected fairies to come from the sky and put it there for me. I expected the problem to solve itself. That's not how it's going to work. You need to solve the problems. No matter how good of a blueprint you have, you need to actually implement the things and actually have a structure and a plan in place so that you're able to follow it, okay? So make sure that you have your meals planned. Prepare your week in advance. Know what you're eating for breakfast. Know what you're having for lunch each day. Have a rough idea of what you're eating for dinner. Have a couple of snacks set aside each day so that you're looking forward to them and you know what you're actually eating. So today I'm going to have my porridge with a banana and a small amount of Nutella. I'm going to have a black coffee with it. Then I'm going to go out for a walk. I'm going to go to work. On my first lunch break in work, I'm going to make sure that I have a sandwich that's 400 calories. Alongside it, I'm going to have, a dairy milk bar that I'm really looking forward to and a cup of tea. Then I'm going to make sure I get until, my finish time in work. When I'm on the way home, instead of me stopping in the shop and buying something for a snack, I make sure that I have sugar-free 7-Up in the boot of the car so that then I can have a sugar-free 7-Up on the way home. That's something that I do. And then when I go home for dinner, I have this and this, and I have a multi-pack of crisps that I've bought where I have one each evening or two each evening or whatever it is. You planning out the week and having it there means that you're not then relying on the problems to just solve themselves. You're approaching each day just going, I really hope today works out, without any attempt to actually make it work, okay? So the system will work, but you have to work the system. It doesn't just work by default. You have to actually implement and plan things to get them to work, okay? So make sure that you're planning. Make sure you have a grocery list. Make sure that you're using the diet plan for all the ideas that are in that there's a lot of. It's a huge diet plan with a lot of detail. Make sure you're stocked up on healthy snacks, and also make sure you have some unhealthy ones that you enjoy. Have a few things set aside where you go, right, that's for something that I like, okay? So make sure that you're planning, okay? Don't mean to rant and rave at you too much, so it's quite a bit there, but it's important, okay? Don't skip meals. Very important as well. Regular blood sugar is your friend. Irregular blood sugar is your enemy. Blood sugar is basically just the amount of energy in your blood at any time. If you are going hours and hours and hours without eating, your blood sugar will be very irregular, meaning that you will have periods of time where you eat and your blood sugar will be higher. And whenever your blood sugar is high, you feel energized. Like you feel like you're full. Your body has the energy that it needs. Whenever you're doing things, your body has the energy source from that blood sugar and you're okay. Like you're good to go. If your blood sugar is low, you feel very fatigued. You feel you have no energy. You don't feel like you're able to do things. You want, whenever you're dieting, within your calorie range, you want within reason to make sure that your blood sugar is reasonably regular. If your blood sugar is reasonably regular, you're going to have lower cravings, you're going to have lower hunger, you're going to have more energy, and you're going to feel better. If you were going hours upon hours upon hours without eating and then eating a massive meal, there's a very good chance that during those periods of time where you're not eating, your blood sugar is going to be very low, you're going to feel like shit, you're going to feel fatigued, your cravings are going to be all over the show, you're going to feel hungry, and then whenever it comes to the time whenever you eat, even though you're eating a very big meal and making up the lost calories, it doesn't level out the blood sugar the same way. You'll just get a big spike of blood sugar, and you go from, instead of having like a good level blood sugar throughout the period of the day, you have times where it's very, very high, and then it just drops, and you also have periods where it's completely low and you feel like shit and you're craving and hungry all day, okay? So don't skip meals. Try and have some sort of regularity in your meal pattern, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, whether it's just lunch, dinner, supper, whether it's just breakfast, lunch, dinner. Have 3 to 4 regular meals and know that they are around the same time with some degree of regularity, okay? Don't skip them. Make sure that they're included, okay? In terms of the cravings, identifying emotional triggers is very important. So this is where we move in from sort of hunger into cravings. Keep a food diary to track what you eat and when your cravings occur. MyFitnessPal has a feature for this. It actually has a notes feature where you can actually write these things in. So if you're finding that you have cravings and you have hunger at certain times of the day, write down what you're feeling. Actually track your cravings. The same sort of thing in terms of planning and preparing. If someone's saying, I'm experiencing this thing, you can actually figure out that there's certain trends and correlations that you'll see there. So you'll notice, right, well, I always seem to experience my cravings after I finish my third day of work, or after I'm, if I work late, it's always my late work evenings that I do that, right? Well, maybe I'm more stressed in those evenings. There's something I can work on. I always notice that it's, at a certain time of day, or after I deal with a certain person, a certain client, or whatever it is. So you'll know that there are certain triggers that you have that cause these emotional cravings for food. And if you're able to recognize them, you have more control over them, okay? So making sure that you make a note of any emotions or situations that are triggering the cravings, finding out what those are, and then trying to address them and asking me for help, because I will help you with them, okay? Finding alternative ways to deal with them. Your stress, your boredom, your cravings, doing other things other than food. If food's something you've always turned to as like a comfort, which a lot of people do use it for, you need to find other things that you can alternatively put in there, okay? So finding the triggers and then trying to find solutions, okay? Managing your stress is a massive one that people really, really don't look into. Stress is the killer of everything. Stress will take years off your life. Stress will kill your mental health. It will kill your energy. It'll kill your mood. It'll kill your sex drive. It'll kill your productivity. It'll kill your creativity. It'll kill your ability to stick to a plan. Stress is literally the embodiment of everything negative in your life. Stress is the word that we attach to it, but it is everything negative, okay? Stress being well managed will make you a happy person. You could make no money, you could not be particularly attractive, you could have what the average person might perceive as like the worst life imaginable. But if you manage your stress well, I guarantee you that person will not be particularly unhappy. If they're not that stressed and they manage their stress well, they will be a happy, optimistic, upbeat type of person. I said unattractive there as if that's like a terrible thing. Fucking people like, fuck you. But you know what I mean? Like one of those things where people typically assume if you thought about sort of things that people wouldn't want to be, they're like, right, maybe you don't make great money, maybe you're not the most attractive, maybe you're a little bit out of shape, maybe you're this, maybe you're that. The kind of things that people would go, right, well, I want to work on those things, not the most desirable traits that people would want to work on. But if that person manages stress well, they'll do really, really well. They'll be flying. They'll be quite optimistic and upbeat and happy. But if they don't manage their stress well, I don't care if you're Brad Pitt or you're a 10 out of 10 and you're a millionaire and you drive a Lamborghini. If you don't manage your stress well, you'll be unhappy. You will not feel good about yourself. You will feel like shit. You will have no discipline. You will have no productivity. You will be unhappy, okay? Stress is very closely linked to your happiness, and your happiness and your stress are very linked to your ability to be productive, your ability to stick to a plan, your ability to be disciplined and have willpower, and all those sorts of things, okay? So make sure that your stress is managed very, very well, and if it is, you will find that everything else becomes a lot easier, okay? Practicing stress management techniques is big. Things like meditation, deep breathing, exercising, and engaging in hobbies. So if you're finding yourself to be very stressed, try using some of the stress apps that I have in the sleep training. Try use Waking Up, which is a meditation app. Try deep breathing exercises. iPhones and Galaxies have them. Smartwatches have them where you can just do a breathing exercise for a few minutes. Go out for a walk in nature, get some fresh air, disconnect from your phone and social media, listen to an audiobook. Any of these sorts of things can really, really help with stress. And because stress is very closely linked to hunger and cravings, managing your stress means managing your cravings. They're very closely linked. So if you manage one, you're going to manage the other very well as well, okay? Get enough fucking sleep. Please do not overlook this because it is possibly the most important of everything. Sleep, like stress, is the most underrated. It is the absolute hidden quality between people who win and people who lose. If you have poor sleep patterns, you will not succeed in anything, period. If you are not well slept, you will not function correctly. Your brain will not work correctly. You will not be productive. You will not be creative. You will not be energized. You will not have willpower. You will not have discipline. You will not stick to a plan. You will feel like shit all the time and you won't know why. You will assume that it's a million other things. And then when you actually look at it, it's like, okay, well, I sleep 5 hours a night. I'm addicted to caffeine. I'm not exercising enough. I eat shit food. I manage my stress poorly. And then it's like, wow, no way. I don't feel great. What a fucking surprise that is. Of course you won't. You're obviously already, if you're watching this training, you're working on your diet. You're working on your exercise routine. You're going to work on self-image. You're working on a lot of other things. You're working on productivity and you're working on willpower and discipline, all that sort of stuff. So those things go without saying. You're already making a good effort towards those by being in a program and trying to do these things. But sleep is the thing that people always overlook. People look at this and I send it to them and I tell them to get better sleep and this and that. And they go, yeah, whatever, as if it's like not important. It is as important as eating good food. It is as important as exercise. It is as important as managing your stress. If you sleep well, everything else in your life will fall into place. Everything else will become so much easier. A good night's sleep will have you waking up feeling ready to take on the world. And a poor night's sleep will have you waking up with, you'll just have the worst day ever. How your day starts is very likely how your day finishes in a lot of cases, okay? Sleep manages or disrupts your hunger quite a bit. It manages all of the hormones in your body that regulate your stress, your hunger, your cravings. So if you're getting adequate sleep, your hunger cravings are much lower. Your satiety signals are much higher, meaning that you're signaled to be fuller for longer. Aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night will have an impact on your cravings that you cannot imagine, okay? So making sure you're getting enough sleep. I have a training on sleep you can watch as well that you'll find in this same library. Ask me for it if you want. I'll send it to you, but that is absolutely key, okay? Forbidden fruit, the 80-20 rule. This is one of the last ones. We're very close to done here now, but 2 more minutes. Include foods you enjoy in moderation. You know this. That's in the diet plan. Do not overly restrict yourself and only have the foods you enjoy. Include junk food in moderation. Forbidden food's the sweetest, so don't make it forbidden, okay? It's called the 80-20 rule, not the 50-50 rule. What that means is If you're eating half the food you eat is shite and half it's good, it's going to make your cravings worse, not better. But if 80 or 90% of the food you eat is good and you have small amounts of the food you enjoy, it'll make it improved, okay? So too much junk food does make you crave it more, but having it in moderation in small amounts will actually get rid of it, okay? So there's a fine line to be walked there. If you eat too much junk when you're dieting, thinking, oh, it's okay, it's all about the calories, you'll only crave it more. If half of what you eat is crap, you're just going to want more crap. That's the reality. But if you have small enough amounts of it, like, 20% of your calories, if you're on 2,000 calories, if 300 or 400 of them are snacks, maybe it's one chocolate bar and a bag of crisps and maybe something else, that's not the end of the world. You'll manage that quite well. But if you look at what you're eating, like I would challenge you to do this. If you're watching this training, go to your last 2 weeks of MyFitnessPal, scroll through them, and look at each day. And if your answer, whenever you're looking at it, is like, wow, yeah, more than 20% of that is bad food, the answer to your problem is not to be less restrictive or more restrictive, or less restrictive. It's to be more restrictive. So the answer in that case is like, you're craving the crappy food, but you're not craving it because you're being too restrictive and it's not in your diet. You're craving it because it's in your diet too much. And then therefore you're thinking about it more and you're eating it more and you're eating more sugar. So you want more sugar. So that's a fine line to walk as well. Okay. So if you're not eating it at all, you'll crave it. If you're eating it far too much, you'll crave it. It has to be in the middle. It has to be moderation, small amounts, not having it as a full meal where you say, oh, well, I had a good breakfast, but then for lunch, I had a packet of crisps, a chocolate bar, and a donut. But I stayed within my calories. It's like, yeah, that'll work for 2 weeks before you crack, and then do you know what I mean? Or you'll be hungry all the time and craving all the time, and your fat loss journey will just be miserable. You don't want that, okay? So don't make it forbidden, but also don't make it all you're fucking eating, because either of those is going to be just as bad as the other, okay? So, running you back over it all here very quickly. Filling foods. They're going to manage your hunger and your cravings really, really well. Make sure you're eating filling foods so you're not hungry all day, okay? Sleeping at least 8 hours a night. Manage your hormones correctly, manage your energy, manage your fatigue, manage your stress. Just set up your brain and your mind and your body for a good, productive day of clarity and discipline and executing what you need to be doing and feeling good about yourself, okay? Drink plenty of water. Don't mistake thirstiness for hunger. Include sugar-free drinks if you want. They're great for keeping hunger at bay, but make sure you're well hydrated. It keeps you functioning well, keeps you full for longer, and is just good for you for other benefits outside of that, okay? Have a routine. Make sure that your meals are relatively well planned. Make sure that you have some sort of a routine where, okay, on Sunday I do my grocery shop. I'm on Monday to Friday, I'm more restrictive in terms of my meals. All of my meals are quite good and only have one nice snack. On a Saturday, I still stay under my calories, but I allow myself to have like more than 20% is junkier food. Or I have one meal that's outside of my healthy, but I still track all the calories. I don't take the piss. Having some sort of a routine week to week where okay, that routine works because I lost weight in week 1. So if I follow that same routine, roughly speaking, I'll lose weight in week 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, okay? Include foods you enjoy. Don't include them too much, but don't leave them out entirely, okay? Moderation is the key, 80-20. Use sugar-free drinks, which I already covered with you. They're very, very good for managing your hunger. There are a wee bit of sweetness in them, so they can help with the sugar craving. And they're also carbonated, so they're full of fizz, so that even helps further with kind of keeping you fuller for longer. You feel like you've eaten a meal when you have them, okay? Manage your stress, same as the sleep. If you're stressed, everything else falls apart. Your hunger will go to shit. Your willpower will go to shit. Managing your stress. Get out in nature for a walk. Disconnect from social media. Go out away from your phone and listen to an audiobook. All that sort of stuff, okay? Know the difference between hunger and cravings as well. Don't assume, oh yes, I'm very hungry this evening. Sit and think about it and think, am I hungry or am I craving a chocolate bar? Hunger is a primal evolutionary drive for food. You'll know what hunger feels like. And you know what cravings feels like, which is like I wouldn't mind a wee bit of, know the difference in them is key as well. So you can recognize the difference and think, maybe I'm actually not hungry this evening. Maybe I just had a stressful, emotional day. I argued with someone that I'm close with, and now my comfort is to turn to a chocolate bar, which is what I've always done. But I want to now try and prevent that or work on that, okay? Preparing. Prepare it all. Prepare by watching these trainings. Prepare by planning your meals. Prepare by doing your groceries. Prepare by the night before looking at what the day's eating is going to be. Prepare by making sure that you're well slept and your stress is managed, and you tie all of these things in together, okay? If you implement all of these things together, you will do this. You will manage your hunger brilliantly. You will manage your cravings brilliantly. You'll have good, nutritious, nutrient-dense foods, and you'll also have foods that you enjoy that you can eat in moderation as well, okay? So that's about the height of it. Ended up a wee bit longer than I thought it would be, but I really couldn't have shortened that down because there's quite a bit to go over. Hunger and cravings are complicated. 24 minutes there, okay? Watch that. Let me know if you have any questions. Get back to me if you do. In the meantime, take it easy and do your best.